What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is erinbies. I am a wife, a mom, a military veteran, and I spent 13 and a half years in multi-level marketing, healed my way out. Now I'm using every social media platform I can to educate and raise awareness around the dangers of multi-level marketing companies and the tactics used by their reps. Today's going to be a good one. But if you're brand new, hello. Thank you for being here. If you've been here a while, appreciate you so much. And like always, shout out to all the members. Thank you guys for being new, and thank you for all of the support that you send my way through this channel and other social media avenues. I appreciate you guys. We have an Optavia video today. Shout out to those of you, shout out to who sent this to me. Let me actually say it that way. I appreciate you so much. And if you guys have anything that you would like to send my way, the easiest way to do that is to upload it to a Google Drive and then share it with my email, erin_bees@yahoo.com. I am still doing horror stories in association with an MLM that you are a part of, so you can send that my way. Yeah. Let's just get into this. This is somebody named Doug Wood and his wife, I believe, and they are in Optavia. They're one of the top, or a top coach. They are top coaches. I don't know how exactly I want to word that. And we're going to explore being an Optavia coach together. Not that I would ever consider that. You know what I'm saying. Leave your commentary below, and let's get to the video.
We live here in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we know exactly how you might feel, because obviously it's really cool that somebody invited you to this call.
Wow, we're starting with the emotional manipulation already, Doug. Okay, love that for us. Not really.
It's going to be about 30 minutes. But number two is, we were just in your shoes, not what feels like not that long ago, when we were freshly down about, I think, 20 pounds, and you were down about 15.
Yeah.
And we came to something just like this, where somebody began to share what the next steps in our health journey could look like.
And I started getting those butterflies in my stomach, and I thought to myself, what if I just took a risk and began to share my story? And that's what my coach invited me to do. I started sharing my story a little bit on social media and started living it out loud. And this, I had to dare to be misunderstood by some, so that I could inspire some people around me that really desired health.
You're not being misunderstood by people at all, in my opinion. People are just educating on how dangerous Optavia really is, and the tactics and the methods that you guys are using, just like you are on this call right now, this Zoom right now. You're starting with your sob story. You're starting with emotional manipulation. You're starting with, hey, we remember what that felt like. We remember the pain points. This is just about emotional manipulation. And in my opinion, it's not any different than we see with any other MLMers, especially MLMers at the top, where they're talking about, oh, I used to live in my basement, or I did this, or I did that, and I never had any money. And now, you know, I started this thing. I saw this thing on Facebook or whatever. This is the same thing.
I was transforming. I had not been able to lose weight for 10 years in our marriage, and I had 2 little kids. I finally was having the energy to be able to keep up with them. So I'm so grateful.
So this is her targeting moms. Leave the moms alone. Okay. They have enough on their plate. They don't need this as well.
Grateful to my coach that said, hey, do you want to explore what coaching might look like? And then I had to take a risk and say, okay, I'm going to start to live this out. I'm going to start to share my story.
So exploring what coaching would be like is probably the term that this company uses, or this team within this company uses. There are specific things that are said by companies, and I've talked about this before, but when you guys see a post and you're like, what company is this? Typically, we can tell by the language, as far as somebody that is, you know, an anti-MLM content creator, or just somebody that watches a lot of anti-MLM content. There are specific things said by specific companies. There's a certain type of, I don't want to say posture, but I'm going to say posture that each company has, and we're able to look at it and go, okay, well, that's this company, that's that company. So I'm wondering if exploring coaching is something that Optavia uses. I bet that's correct, but y'all let me know.
That's what happened for us. It was exactly 12 years ago today. Well, maybe not today. It was like this month though.
Yeah.
That I saw a post on Facebook, and it was a friend of mine who I used to go to church with, and he said, basically, I found this amazing program. I'm down 14 pounds in 14 days. And truth be told, I texted him, half joking, but not that far off. And I said, are you doing crack?
What are you doing?
Tia said, what are you doing? I said, are you doing crack? Like, dude, 14 pounds in 14 days? It's insane, because at the time.
That is not healthy. That is not healthy at all. 1 pound a week, according to dietitians and professionals, 1 to maybe 2 pounds a week, 2 pounds could be pushing it for a lot of people as well, is a healthy, sustainable weight loss. What happens when you lose these large amounts of pounds quickly is your body, when you stop taking the product or you start eating again, because Optavia is an extremely restrictive way of eating, depending on which plan you're on, you are really cutting major calories. And when you start taking in those calories, your body goes, oh my gosh, I'm going to hang on to everything. We're not in a famine anymore. I'm going to store everything because I don't know when my next meal is going to be here. And that's what happens. You start gaining weight. You typically, with any kind of a fad diet, anything that's super restrictive, as soon as you lift those restrictions, you gain weight back plus some. So 14 pounds in 14 days, that's not a flex, that's dangerous.
I was 270 pounds and I really needed something. And it's amazing that, you take, where we were, that picture there in the middle of us getting fresh off a cruise boat to you.
We were a little fluffy that day.
And losing over 100 pounds together is pretty absolutely outstanding. And, there's been so many rewards by doing it. And I just think it's really cool that, first of all, you're logging into this Zoom this morning and probably a little nervous, probably a little bit like, what the heck am I even doing here?
Yeah.
And that's okay, because if you were to rewind my life 12 years ago when I owned a furniture store in Beaverton, Oregon, I would say we lived a very fair, modest life, but we knew that we maybe wanted to do something different.
And now you're making all kinds of money because you are recruiting into a multi-level marketing company called Optavia that you guys typically don't claim to be an MLM, but it is.
We knew we wanted to do something more, but I can guarantee you health coach definitely never had anything to do with it, did it, Tia?
Yeah, I'm a praying woman, and at the time I was praying for an answer. And when Doug came home to share with me about this program and about going on this journey, I was definitely in a cynical place in my life, but I also had been praying. So I had this awakening within me that said, Tia, take this step, take this next step. And we started on program. We went on to lose 100 pounds combined. We began to live our journey and our story out loud and invited a lot of people along.
I think that's another phrase that Optavia uses a lot, living your life out loud. That basically means sharing what you're doing, sharing your results, sharing what you're eating. That's essentially what that means. Also, I don't know who needs to hear this, but God does not want you to be a part of a multi-level marketing company. I have a hard time believing that. I don't think that your higher power would want you to get into a multi-level marketing company where the majority of people lose themselves, lose money, or don't make any at all, according to the FTC. I have a hard time believing that anybody that has your best interest at heart, that wants you to live this fulfilling, beautiful life as your higher power, would ever want you to join a multi-level marketing company where you are making money when you recruit people, when you are making more money off of your team's efforts than the sale of an individual product or products through the company. I just have a hard time believing that. I don't think that that's the case. But we see lots of these people within MLMs that are at the top that use this type of spiritual manipulation in order to get people into the company. I think she's saying, listen, I was praying on this. Doug came home. He was talking to me about it. And I knew that it was the sign because it's something that I've been praying for. The other thing that we hear people say a lot is, I was praying for a ground floor opportunity. Well, why do you think these people pray for a ground floor opportunity? It's because they know if they get in early, they're going to be at the top of the pyramid. They're going to make the most money. And then the next opportunity that comes, the next ground floor opportunity that comes, they're going to hop on. And we see these company hoppers that do it. And it's because at the top, you make the most money. So the reason that I think that these people are top leaders in Optavia is because they got in early and they recruited a lot of people.
On the way. Now, in the beginning of my coaching journey, I just wanted to help a couple people because honestly, I wanted to be able to send my kids to private school. And Doug told me at the time, we don't have it in our family budget. And I thought, this is an amazing opportunity. I can live my health out. And at the same time, I could possibly send my daughter to private school. And so hopefully over this Zoom, we'll be able to share some income opportunities and things that could really help empower you. And so I saw this and I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to help 5 people so that I can send her. And I was able to do that within a month of sharing my story and inviting people to go along with me on the journey.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a good time here the next 25 minutes. And here's the cool part. I'm gonna interview a couple other people. They're gonna share their stories about really what their anxiety or their fears were about paying it forward and becoming a coach. Because very few actually set out to be an Optavia coach in life. You don't wake up one day and someone asks you in high school, what are you going to be when you grow up? Actually, that's not true. My daughter would probably say she wants to be an Optavia coach.
Yes.
But for most of
And that's what we call indoctrination. Yikes.
us, don't say, I'm going to be an Optavia coach. Most coaches and coaches that are on, put that in the chat if that was you, if you stumbled into being a coach because it was like that next level in your health journey. It was that next accountability level. And you're like, man, I like helping people.
Yeah.
And we're going to take our biggest place of pain,
Yeah.
which for us has always been our health and our excess weight.
Yeah.
And our, I wasn't raised in a home that taught me a lot about being healthy. And some of you were, but we weren't. And I'm not a victim to that. I just knew that I'm going to take this place of pain, this area that we continued struggling in our marriage, and we're going to make it our place of purpose and reign to take back the control for us. And then here we are 12 years later, obviously helping a lot of people see it, but it's pretty cool.
12 years later, helping a lot of people. Let's look at their income disclosure statement. I'm going to put this in the video description so you guys can check it out. But he claims that they are helping a lot of people. But when you look at Optavia's 2021 income disclosure statement, let's see, 19.83% of people earned no income in 2021. So almost 20% of the company didn't earn anything, but they paid to join, probably were ordering products, ordering their food and all of that stuff through Optavia, paying their annual membership if they have one, but they earned nothing. So almost 20% of the company was paying in to say that they are a part of the company. Let that sink in, that part. 7.25% of the company earned 1 penny to $100. 11.34% earned $100 and 1 penny to $250 a month. Oh no, excuse me. Annual income. This is annual income. Let's say $250 for the year is what they earned. $250 for the year, you guys. Yeah. And that's on the high end. Okay. 10.66% of people earned $250 and 1 penny to $500. So that's for the year. That math is nuts. So then you have the next level, which is 13.46% of people in Optavia in 2021 earned $1,000 and 1 penny to $2,500 for the year. So we're barely, not even, close to $100 a month. And this is the the 6th level on their income disclosure statement. It's not by rank, it's by income level, kind of like Modaire's. I think Modaire is the one that has the income level, not by rank. I think that many of these companies choose to not show rank because that would basically show us that it's a commercial cult, that it's, you know, the people at the top are making the most money. Yikes. Anyways, let's keep going.
That, I mean, this many people are logging in on a Saturday morning saying, hey, I want more, I want to do more. And if anything, I just congratulate you all for having an open mind, because if anything, in year 2022, it's important to have an open mind, be open and curious versus closed and fixed.
Yeah, and that's what we every day as a family and raising up our kids, we talked about, we empower them about adaptability and learning how to pivot and being agile. And you're sitting on this Zoom today because you yourself are walking through your own transformation, or someone around you.
No, I don't think that's accurate. I'm actually reacting to this Zoom that you guys have done because I am educating people on how to not join your company and why, in my opinion, based off of data from your company and the FTC, they should not join Optavia. And they should not join your team. That's what I'm doing here. So good try though.
Has been transforming before your eyes, and you're like, I want to know more about this Optavia thing. So we are excited because when you begin to be agile and adaptable and willing to pivot, it's amazing what can happen in your life.
Yeah. So my first question for everybody on the line, and for those of you that are coaches, maybe drop in the chat. What is one of the biggest blessings for you that Optavia coaching has brought you?
I don't have obviously the comments for this video. I'm just curious how many people that are coaches in this company are like, oh my God, the money. I bet there's not a whole lot, because that income disclosure statement, she's looking a little grim, but yeah.
Now you're going to probably start seeing community, flexibility, freedom, time with my kids,
Impact.
and impact. And for us, T and I would just say, like, we're ministry people,
Yeah.
and we feel like we're in the full-time ministry,
Yeah.
and we are. It just looked different than we ever dreamed of years ago.
Hi, you can find community without joining a multi-level marketing company and paying in to say that you have a business. You don't have to join an MLM to find community. Okay.
Ago when we set out to go to Bible college.
Yeah.
But it's also, we're living in a world right now where, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, I just think it's called life, but you know, prices are going up, inflation is going up, and there's a lack of funds. Most people in America have felt the pinch, or should I say, not just a pinch.
What is any good MLM opportunity Zoom without a little fear mongering?
A grab of finances, you know, not having enough finances and needing more and doing more, or even maybe you're thriving on program right now, but it's a stretch to stay on program because it's a continual investment in yourself.
Because it's expensive AF, and you still have to buy what you need for those lean and green meals. Oh my gosh, I can't.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about the rewards of coaching and even how they financially pay you today. And I'm going to interview a couple people that are going to share their story about that. But before we do, Optavia does pay its health coaches
I just have a question. Oh my God, okay. They're showing the 2020 income disclosure statement, but what I just looked up was the 2021 income disclosure statement. I wonder if the people that he's about to interview, if they're going to say, this is where I fall. I'm, you know, within the 10% of people that are making this income. I wonder if they're going to do that. Probably not, but wouldn't that be interesting?
extremely well. I'm going to give you a few examples of that today. So I just want to let you know, as you hear these income testimonials, really, I want you to see our income disclosure statement, because we're very proud of it. And our, Optavia.
Doug, you're proud of this? You're proud of this income disclosure statement that shows that the majority of people, I think in this one, if I'm seeing this correctly, it says 27%. I don't know how similar that is to 2021. Actually, let's look. 27% of people made no income from being a part of Optavia. You're proud of these numbers? Why? Because you fall in towards the top of that? Is that what you're proud of? Wow, that's That's a weird flex, Doug.
It rewards your efforts.
That's right.
And I believe that's a good thing. So, you know, Tia, who is Optavia? Or just, you're seeing it right here. I mean, yes, a lot of people in pink, but it's people gathering like-minded groups, whether it be on Zoom like this on a Saturday morning or in person at our different meetups a few different times a year, saying, you know what, I want more life. I want to do life different. I want to set my kids, I want to set my family up to win. I'm willing to live literally a unique and a different life.
I think for the rest of this, I'm going to identify the pain points that they're trying to use to manipulate people into joining. Obviously, this one is community. I'm sure we're going to see all different types of pain points. But, you know, as you see them, drop them in the comments below.
And you're committed to helping elevate together. You know, we serve to better mankind. And that's really what, as an Optavia coach and part of this family, even as a client, we are here to help elevate each other so that we can inspire and empower others to see that health is possible. You know, when someone else around you begins to, you know, find something good and they lead you to it, you're like, yes. And that's what we do as Optavians, is we lead people to what health could look like for them, and they have to take that step into the process.
Yeah,
So what she just did there is she is laying the groundwork to victim blame and shame. So when somebody says, there was no way I could do the 5-in-1, there's no way I could, you know, continue paying this, or I felt terrible. By the way, Brianna Jewell did a video on it, and it's on the 5-in-1. It is incredible. If you've not already watched it, you definitely should. It was fascinating, and shout out to her for even being willing to go through that. Wow. But in my opinion, what she's doing here is she is laying the groundwork for victim blaming and shaming, meaning it didn't work for me, it's too expensive, it's this, it's that. And if that's the case, then she can say, well, you didn't follow the program, or you didn't do it long enough. You know, so it's not the program that failed, it's you that failed, which is another thing that we see a lot of times in multi-level marketing companies from leaders just like them.
Yeah, next step. When we're about halfway in our health journey is never done. It's like the laundry.
No.
You know, your health is never finished, just like the laundry. But when we were about halfway into our health journey, we found out about.
That makes no sense. If your health journey, there's no, this is an unfortunate pause. Yikes. If your health journey is never done, how are you halfway through your health journey? That makes no sense. I do agree with him. There is no finish line when it comes to your health. There's always things that you can be working on. There's always things that you can be learning about your body with a professional, not a multi-level marketing Optavia coach.
About what was called really the fifth component. And, you know, most of us know the 4 components, you know, if you're onto this, because there's 4 key things that we set our clients up to win. And many of you are on here because you've had a coach in your life, you've had community, you've had the Habits of Health system, and you've had this amazing, what I would even say easy to follow. Structured, stick to, but easy to follow if you stick to it, right? And you got these amazing results, but it's like going next level.
Yeah.
And it's, what would it look like to pay?
Paying it forward, just say it's recruiting. Also, I think the most dangerous, well, the 2 most dangerous things about this company and what they offer, if you will, is 1, the amount of restrictive eating that they encourage, and 2, the lack of thinking. You'll hear a lot of these coaches that are like, we've taken the thinking out of it. We've made it super easy. He said it himself. It's structured, but it's simple to follow. Well, in my opinion, when you are removing thinking about what you're putting on your plate, you're denying yourself the ability to understand how that food impacts you. You're denying your ability to understand why you might be feeling the way that you are, whether that's, hey, I feel really good after this meal, or hey, I don't feel so great. When we remove the thinking about the food on our plate, I think that we're stepping into a territory where it's going to be easy for us to be manipulated. Because in my opinion, if you're not thinking about it and they're like, just follow the plan, You're just going to be eating the 5, if it's the 5-in-1. You're going to be eating the 5 fuelings a day, and then the 1 lean and green machine. What is even that? What is that from? But anyways, you're not thinking about it. And so when something else comes out, you're going to be more willing to order the thing from Optavia, if that's the company that we're talking about here, because you don't have to think about it. But I want to encourage all of you to think about what you are putting on your plate. That's not me shaming what you're eating. Listen, you want the cookie, have the cookie. I'm a fan of that. I had a piece of cake yesterday and it was fantastic. Don't be so restrictive and so regimented, especially when it comes to this kind of stuff, that you aren't paying attention to what you're putting on your plate. Pay attention to it. Eat inclusively. That's just my personal opinion. And I'm going to say it again, work with a professional. Work with a dietitian, work with your doctor, work with your, your medical team, whoever it is that you're working with that has your best interest at heart when it comes to your health and wellness, work with them. But an MLM product, an MLM program, and even some of these programs from influencers are extremely dangerous because they are not trained. They don't have the proper education. They don't have the proper certifications. They don't to even be giving any of this advice. And I think, like I said before, the 2 most dangerous things, in my opinion, when it comes to Optavia is how restrictive they are and removing the thought process when you're building a plate. There's something really cool about building a plate where, okay, I've got a little bit of carbs if you're able to. Obviously, if you're a type 1 diabetic, type 2 diabetic, you have to pay attention to that. You have to watch the carbs, amongst other things. But knowing that, okay, this is a carb, here's my protein, here's my veggies that are also carbs, knowing and understanding your plate is going to remove some of the fear, in my opinion, just based on my experience, some of the fear that we have developed when it comes to foods because of stuff like this that we're watching. And social media and media and all of that stuff where, they're assigning moral value to food. They're categorizing things into good or bad, that type of thing. I went off on a tangent, but apparently it needed to be said.
Forward, because we don't realize the value of our yes, that other people, we have trust with people, and that they want to reinforce their decision to stay healthy or more purpose or community. Legacy, impact, ministry, Tia. What has paying it forward really meant the most to you before we head out to Lene?
For me, it's been built-in accountability that, I'm not going to tell someone that I'm not willing to do myself. And that's really, I was looking for emotional management. I needed to grow in my emotional ways of how I was dealing with my children, how I was, with my spouse, with Doug.
Optavia is not going to do that for you. You know how you can help with working through emotionally difficult things, thoughts, feelings, emotions, those types of things? Work with a therapist. An Optavia coach is not qualified to do that. Optavia themselves, not equipped, in my opinion, to do that. And the fact that she's mentioning this is because she's, in my opinion, trying to target moms that are emotional and stress eaters. I think that is disgusting.
I didn't know, I wasn't empowered in growing up. And so Optavia was really an opportunity for me to learn personal development. And so that's what it's been for me from the get-go. It's reinforced my decision, and it's been built in accountability.
Absolutely. So I know that sometimes it's like taking that next baby step, what would it look like if I was to pay it forward? Especially if you're reluctant to. I was reluctant to become a coach. And I know Lene was, but I wanted to head out to Indiana to our friend Lene. She's been coaching a few years and now has helped a lot of people. But Lene, you and Terry have done some phenomenal things. And you didn't see yourself being an Optavia coach a few years ago. So talk to us for a few minutes about what that journey was like and maybe where you're at now.
Yeah, so very different than some people who show up to this journey. I'm actually someone who has no weight loss story. So my story with coming to Optavia is one of a little bit of begrudgingly doing so with a little bit of kicking and screaming along the way. You see, I have always loved health. I am a long distance runner. I I paid my way through college by being an athlete and running. And that's how I met my husband, Terry. We were both on the track team together. And so fitness and health was part of our core DNA as a couple. But you know how life goes. We had kids. We owned numerous businesses and actually was very successful in business. And I loved running still. And between each of our 4 kids, I ran marathons and I would get back down to my weight. And I was very proud of the fact that I stayed within 10 pounds of college weight in between every single child.
And this is an example of putting far too much emphasis and far too much value when it comes to the number on the scale. If you are comparing yourself now as an adult, maybe after having children or just dealing with life, and you are comparing yourself to your high school weight, that is very dangerous. If you are comparing your post-baby weight and body to your pre-pregnancy weight and body, that is a very dangerous narrative, in my opinion. Your body changes, it goes through, especially having babies, having had 2 kids of my own, there are things that shift, there are things that change. And when you are putting so much emphasis on the number on a scale, I just think that that's where really poor decisions can happen out of emotion, out of desperation. I think even more so desperation. I just want to get back down to that weight. I just want to get back into these pre-pregnancy jeans or whatever. And I think that this is a very dangerous narrative that she is sharing. And in my opinion, she ought to be ashamed of herself. Considering she is a mom, considering she is an athlete, she knows what it takes to fuel her body. She knows, especially as a marathon runner, the importance of carbs, the importance of fueling your body. And when you look at these different plans from Optavia, there is no way that that is going to fuel a marathon runner. And the fact that she's mentioning this, I think is really gross.
And people would always say to me, how do you do that, Lene? Like, okay, just all the other moms in the moms groups would be like, okay, so I'm gonna do whatever you do. So how do you do it? And then I would begin to explain to them that I get up at, 4:30 in the morning and I go for these runs and then I come home and get my kids up for school and immediately shut down. No, they weren't going to do that. And the way that I was using health was not the way they wanted.
Well, yeah, because not everybody has the ability to run. But I feel like she's leaving out part of the story conveniently. I wonder if the conversation was kind of like, I get up at 4:30, I go for a run, depending on how she's training, what kind of runs, those types of things. And then I come back, I get the kids ready, I do this, I do that. I wonder if it was immediately a no when she started to explain the different plans with Optavia. And they were like, oh God, too expensive, too restrictive. I mean, I think most people, when you see stuff like this, you're going to be like, oh my God, that sounds terrible. But there's that emotional piece that these people are preying on, in my opinion, where they're like, oh my God, but what if it's one more thing? Like, what if this is the thing that helps me? Oh, this is dangerous, then I don't like it.
To use health. So I was lacking a tool. And then along Terry one day was like, why don't you just get a certification, make it official, and actually start a business, because you're giving people free advice all day, every day anyway. And so that's exactly what I did. I went back to school, paid thousands of dollars, took all of the classes, and got a health coach certification and began working in the arena of being an actual certified health coach.
And who certified you? Where did you get this certification? Notice that she didn't say she is a registered dietitian. Notice that she didn't mention the school. She's just throwing the title around. It's giving, I'm a nutritionist, I'm a health coach, but not giving any kind of details past that. Not saying, oh, well, I got it through this university, or I got it through whatever. The jokes are writing themselves at this point.
I was online, I was writing I was writing in blogs. I was working out of chiropractic offices, really, really honing my skill around holistic health. And I will actually say making not a lot of money doing it and spending a lot of time doing so. Meanwhile, Terry is overweight, and we were doing the whole like organic whole foods. My pantry was clean, right? Like we were eating so well, and Terry's high stress job, it was just too much. And I would get so frustrated with him because I'd be like, can you just like, I don't understand why you're not losing weight. And we truly couldn't figure it out that, why he couldn't lose weight. And along came this friend of ours who kept posting on Facebook.
But you're a certified health coach. Isn't that what you just said? You couldn't figure out that your husband's cortisol levels were through the roof because of stress. You couldn't figure that out? That's what the case was. Maybe you couldn't figure out that maybe you needed a stress management program or something like that for your husband. You just found this post on Facebook and you're like, Optavia. Yes, we're going to get really restrictive. That sounds great. That makes no sense.
About how he was a health coach. And I was like, dude, you're a pastor. You are not a health coach. I am a health coach. And very much was resistant to it until one day Terry was like, we're going on a cruise and I can't find anything I want to wear on this cruise. Call Paul, sign me up. I'm doing his program. And I was not happy about it, but I did it. And actually buying my coach kit was a full-on business decision because I wasn't going to let somebody else coach my husband when I was the professional health coach. So I actually, almost in spite, I bought a coach's kit. I signed Terry up as my first client. And then I wanted to see if I was so skeptical. I can't even begin to tell you how.
So it was about your ego. So is that what I'm hearing? You know, nobody's going to coach my husband. I am the health coach. Yikes.
Skeptical I was of, packaged foods and how I thought my way was superior and that this was just not going to probably work for him. So I had him as a client. I had my friend Jen as a client, and lo and behold, they both lost almost 30 pounds in their first month. And
Well, yeah, because they were restricting calories. That's not that hard to figure out. Not to say that weight loss is simple and easy for everybody. I'm just talking about this particular thing that she's mentioning. Well, they both lost weight. Well, yeah, if you're eating 800 to 1200 calories a day on their 5-in-1 plan, yeah, you're going to drop some weight. Your body is going into starvation mode. But you're a health coach, so you should probably know that. A certified health coach. Yeah.
My mind was blown. And what really blew me away was the amount of support they got, the way that they were learning, and the fact that everything in our Habits of Health system, that they got those books for a fraction of a price that I had paid to get my entire certification. And lo and behold, it was the same information. I couldn't believe it. And so
it's almost like Optavia did that for a cash grab, because correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you have to buy those books? For those of you that know, drop it in the comments.
So then I made the actual business decision to jump in full force. I thought, if this is the program that actually gets people the results they need, this is the tool I'm going to use to help everyone. And they both posted on Facebook, and my business blew up. Like never before, people were asking me, will you help me lose weight? I see that it's actually happening. And what I realized in that moment was, I can talk about organic food all day long. I can talk about GMOs. I can talk about gut health. I can talk about all those things with my clients, but they needed a tangible system that was duplicatable, that they could do in their own house while they were running their kids to and from sports, when they didn't have time to make, all weekend meals all day long. And I didn't even know it was possible. And I remember getting on a Zoom with our mentor coaches, Shane and Angel, and Terry came and sat next to me, and he was the business guy. And I was the one who was just sort of like trying to do a little hustle on the side. And he sat in that Zoom, and to my utter irritation, and it made me so mad, he proceeded to ask Shane, is this a business that can make us at least $70,000 a year, or else I'm not actually interested and I'm not going to touch it. And I was so mad because I thought, how dare you? This is for me to help people. I was being all like, I just want to help people. I don't care about the money. But you guys, money pays the bills.
Did you guys catch that? Literally, she just did this. It wasn't about the money. I was so mad that he asked that, and wow, to me this screams ego with a little sprinkling of some virtue signaling. Listen, it wasn't about the money. I wanted to help people. But there's money that pays the bills that comes from this. Wow.
And money gets us to that space where we can give well to other people, and it lowers our stress load so that we can show up better for our families. And I never wanted to be a leader. I never wanted to do something big. I just wanted to help a few. But what I didn't know was how great the need was. And each time I would share with people how my clients were doing, and every time my clients would be like, this is amazing, I love this program, my business grew and grew and grew. And now here I am 4 years later, and I can say with 100% certainty, the day that I bought that coach's kit that I was so resistant to getting is the day that thousands and thousands of lives were changed. I can log in to my back office and I can scroll for hundreds of pages and see names of people who have said yes to their health. And I know for a fact this has changed our family life because Terry was able to actually step away from his really high stress job and show up and be a really present dad and a really present husband.
Oh man, this is a lot to unpack. Well, first of all, I have questions. In your back office, how many customers do you have versus how many team members? How much money are you making from customers versus off of your team? I guarantee you're probably making a whole lot more off of your team members and the volume they bring in than you are off of the sale or the commission, if you will, from customers. Also, I really enjoy, that's sarcasm, by the way, the fact that she is saying that now he can be a fully present dad. Almost to say, like, parents that work full time are not as present. So a little shaming, little virtue signaling, a little bit of emotional manipulation. What are you guys seeing? Because this is really yucky, but it's not that different from other Zooms that we see from MLM top leaders. I just feel like she is not mentioning certain things. Like the majority of her income is probably off of her team versus off of her customers. And I think that that's pretty substantial to include that.
And it's been an amazing journey. So if you are somebody who's a little bit like, ooh, I don't know about that for me, I'm not really a health coach, I'm going to tell you right now, this program, it changes everything. People show up, they can step into structure, and they can have success where they could not have success before.
You know who else can give them structure? Probably for far less than the cost of the Optavia programs. And I guarantee you the food will taste better than their fuelings. A registered dietitian. They'll put them on a meal plan where they're eating actual food instead of a bar or a soup or a little thimble. Thimble is, I'm exaggerating, but a small amount of pasta or pretzels. That's not a meal, that's a snack. A registered dietitian is going to prescribe them, if you will, a meal plan that's going to help them learn how to put a plate, a complete plate together. And there's so many different ways that you can do that effectively. You know, you can meal prep and you can make choices that are super easy. One of my favorite things to do, if sodium is not a real problem for you, is I will buy the rotisserie chickens. This is just me, one human to another, sharing a tip that makes my life a little bit easier, because if you follow me on Instagram or you've been here for a while, you know that I also am really big on health. You know that I lift. I'm doing a bulk right now. I'm eating more than I ever have. And there's a reason for that. And with bulking, you are going to need to eat more food. And I was working with a dietitian, and that's how you repair your metabolism. Okay, that being said, grab some rotisserie chickens, and you can use the chicken to meal prep. Grab some vegetables, grab some sort of a starch if you're able to eat that, or some carbs, starch carbs. Yeah, put a whole plate together. But again, work with a professional, and an MLM coach is not a professional.
I finally found a tool with all of my background knowledge, with everything that I knew, all of my nerdy, dorky information, that I couldn't help people until I had a tool that they could actually use. This is duplicatable. This is something I can step into any mom's world, any dad's world, any full-time employee's world and be like, I don't care what your schedule looks like, you can step in and you can do this. I finally have a way to help other people have success without making them feel bad about the fact that they don't have time to hit the gym or they don't have time to prep on the weekends, all of their foods. So if you are somebody who's on the fence, I'm going to tell you right now, share your story, get on plan, get into fat burn, and watch and see how it can impact thousands of lives around you.
And what happens to the people that get off the plan? Oh, they gain a ton of weight. And so when you have somebody that is already putting a lot of emphasis on the number on the scale, which in my opinion is not a true measure of health, regardless of what the scale shows. There are so many other parameters to health that need to be looked at. If you're only looking at that number on the scale, you're missing a large chunk of your health story. But when they get off, they gain a ton of weight. And when you think about how these people are roped into this garbage company, in my opinion, it's because they are people that put a lot of emphasis on the number on the scale. So then they're just in deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's very dangerous, in my opinion.
Thank you, Lene. And I chuckle to myself because I think Optavia is really for about 90% of Americans who, if you look around America, I usually just say us because we're in this together, like all of.
Doug, where did you get that statistic from? Optavia is for 90%? Why? Who, what, when, where, why, and how? That's what I want to know from that statement that you just made. 90%? Okay, so who are the 10% that Optavia is not for? Oh my God.
And you'll find that with your coach. We guide you how to do this. I'm going to talk about that next. But Tia, it's really cool because 90% of Americans are about 30 pounds overweight physically, emotionally, and financially. And the first step is getting healthy physically, but then we didn't know that it was going to lead to getting healthy financially as well.
And most people are looking for.
And where did that statistic come from? Because that would be a really cool place for you to say, according to the ... 90% of Americans are overweight. But I guarantee that statistic was not shared and used with Optavia. I bet that was just, hey, studies have shown that 90% of Americans are overweight. You are the one that inserted Optavia into that, which is what we see a lot of the time with MLM companies.
For a place to thrive and a place to belong. They want rhythm in their life. They desire it. They just can't crack the code. And Optavia is that code. It is the combination to help people get into momentum in their life.
Oh my God.
That's what it did for us. And that's why we're passionate about every day showing up to, Lene, to live it out loud so that when people are looking for health, they begin to look for us because we do have the structured plan that will help them win.
I feel like she used every MLM buzzword in those couple sentences. I know that I'm pausing it a lot. I just have a lot to say. So bear with me, friends.
You said that a few times this morning, live out loud. What does that mean to you, Tia? Because
yes, please tell us.
What does that mean to the audience on the other side about living out loud? How did you do that? And what has it done for you?
Well, I just began to share my story, even though it was risky, it was scary. I had a lot of fear around what people were going to think about me. But when your life gets changed and you begin to believe in yourself, where my coach believed in me, and he was checking in with me those first couple of weeks and my life was changing. But when I began to believe in myself and like this was actually working, I was actually going to begin to see my dreams come into reality. Everyone around you wins. And so living out loud is beginning to share your story on social media. I carried a bag like that literally had my before and after on it because I was so my life was changed, and I couldn't hide this. I wanted to share it with the
And
world.
it kept you from ordering Starbucks.
I did not get pumpkin scones and pumpkin lattes any longer with a bag that had my transformation story on it.
First of all, leave coffee and pumpkin, anything, from Starbucks alone. Thank you.
I was beginning to make connections everywhere I went, at the park, everywhere, because I was so excited,
Yeah,
and
people-
passion
yeah.
was coming out of me.
People just want something that works. I mean, honestly, most people aren't too attached to the details, and nothing's perfect.
Yeah.
But people are just like, will it work for me? And will it work for you? And I trust you.
Yeah.
And most people won't share their full story and without putting a filter on us, right?
Well, that's interesting that you're saying that. People won't share their whole story. I guarantee you, in my opinion, there are holes in your story as well. I guarantee it.
need a filter today. But think about this, like, your story matters. Your story
Yeah.
inspires somebody. Like, the average person has 400 Facebook friends. You know 400 people that I don't. Now,
Yeah.
Tia and I have helped a lot of people through helping one person help their 400, one person help their 400. And I believe that's truly how we're going to make a big impact in the health and wellness of America, to get people back in the driver's seat of their marriages, being fully present fathers, fully present mothers,
Yeah.
like back in the driver's seat.
That's disgusting. That level of emotional manipulation that just came out of this man's mouth is absolutely vile. Like earlier, they were talking about gal with the curly hair. She was talking about how her husband now is a more present father because he's not working that full-time job. So the shame that they are throwing at people, in my opinion, is them just trying to rope them in, and they're using as many pain points as they possibly can. Present father, healthy, present in their marriage, I think is what he said. No, Optavia is not going to help anybody with those things. You know what would help those people if they're having challenges in their marriage? Go talk to a therapist. If they're having trouble with food, see a dietitian. See a therapist as well, can help with some of the emotional triggers and those types of things. Get a full blood panel done to make sure everything is okay with your health. God, the emotional manipulation and the preying on people that are in vulnerable places drives me absolutely bananas. And the reason that I'm saying that is because I used to do the same thing. I used to talk about how I didn't recognize myself in the mirror because I was 225 pounds. I used to do a lot of the things that these people are doing. And not to say that they're doing it on purpose, because I know that when I was in an MLM, I really felt like I was helping people. I didn't realize the damage and the role I was playing in other people's damage because of the words that I was using and the way that I was manipulating people. What these two are doing, along with anybody else they're going to bring on that shares their story, they're manipulating people, in my opinion. And I think that that's gross.
I think it starts physically, but we get to do that by sharing our stories, and you have trust. See, you have trust and impact with people that I don't, and that's how together, we can do that. So here's what it could look like just by sharing your story. I mean, I look at Sean, I look at Dan. They just said, okay, I'll share my picture. And they weren't even as far as they wanted to be. They're just like, okay, I'm halfway through my journey.
Yeah.
I'm willing to share my story. Boom. Within 30 days, they helped 5 people get started and do the same program that they've been doing. They just became the guide, and then they still were the client.
So now we're talking about money. Client acquisition commissions and bonuses. 5 clients, $595 in their first 30 days. But we've already covered the income disclosure statement, so we know that this is not the norm, and that's probably why you chose to showcase this particular story. Because listen, this is what's possible. This is what could happen if you believe enough, if you're living out loud. Come on.
And Optavia, with their commissions and bonuses that they're offering right now, if you help 5 people get healthy within the first 30 days, they'll pay you $595.
And this is a hypothetical purposes only at the bottom.
Well,
But this is what they,
it's hypothetical,
right now,
but it
this
is.
Hypothetical.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is what's possible. When
Yeah.
you share
Oh my God, did I call it or did I call it? Listen, this isn't the norm, because remember the income disclosure statement, but it's what's possible. Wow, I nailed that one.
your story and you invite people to come along and let's transform our health together.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I kept it simple. It was my mom, my best friend. It was a couple of my high school classmates that got on program.
Yeah, that tracks. That tracks. Yeah. By the way, did you guys see AM Social Psychology's latest video on Eric Worre? Another tangent. However, I feel like it's important that you guys watch that, because she talks about the methods and techniques that he's using to try and talk a family member into becoming a customer. And I'm just wondering, is she using the same methods? This gal right here that's talking, that said it was my friend, it was, you know, a couple of friends from high school that got on the program. I bet you anything she's using the same things that AM Social Psychology was talking about in her Eric Worre video. By the way, if you've watched that, let me know in the comments, because I was just like, whoa, it was amazing.
It was the most random group of
Yeah.
people that were my first clients.
And we don't even realize the power of our story.
Yeah.
Like Tia said, living it out loud, just posting it up one time. I know that's fearful. And then the people like on the Zoom right now, Tia, are like, I'm a private person. Yeah, so is everybody else, and everyone's suffering in private. And so for the person that's in FATBR that says, okay, I'm willing to share where I'm at. Yeah, you're able to impact 5 of your 400 friends that are living in Facebook secretly stalking you anyway.
Yeah.
And they need what happens. And you're saying, well, Doug, I don't know 5, but maybe 3. Awesome.
Yeah.
Josh and Lydia were able to start 3 clients their first 30 days. And Optavia paid them $305. And so it's enough to keep, even maybe replace the cost of your food. And it's different for everybody. But one last story before we wrap up. And I really have a special heart for this gal. I'm going to head out to California. Actually, she's not in California anymore. She's
in
like,
Texas.
she's moving all around the world because she can. But this was a nurse that came to me a few years ago.
Oh God,
That
here we go.
explored paying it forward. And I don't want to steal her thunder, but I want you to hear the conviction in her heart of what Optavia has done for her and her impact to her community and now the world. So Calandra, I'll let you wrap up.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks, Tia. I am so honored to be
First of all, she is so cute. She is so cute. I love her glasses. I love her top. She's super cute.
here with you all this morning. Thank you for having me. I'm super humbled by it. And I remember that first call with Doug, and it was terrifying. I'm not going to lie. Before I start, I want everybody on this Zoom to kind of picture a overwhelmed mama, a very tired wife, and a burnt out nurse, burnout. I've been a registered nurse for 22 years. I worked emergency medicine in the back of an ambulance and recovery room the last 8 years. Have spent a lot of time with patients.
I can feel all of you nurses and medical peeps that are incredible human beings reacting to this already. You all already know where this is going. Oh my God, I don't like it.
I'm married to a firefighter of 29 years. We both have lived a life of service, and we love loving and serving others. And I'm a mama to a 15-year-old boy that God gifted us through the foster system. That is the biggest gift of my life. So
I love that.
Sorry, hopefully I won't get too teary on here, but this whole community has totally changed my life. Also know that my middle name is Skeptic, hard-headed, and reluctant. I started my journey 6 years ago. I lost 45 pounds in 5 months. And while I could say that's a beautiful story, it is, it's beautiful. The best part is after that happened, people start watching, right? They start noticing, and they're like, wow, how'd you do that? And when you work in a hospital, people want to know how. And so I reached out to my coach and said, Kristen, I have some people that want to come on this journey with me. And she said,
oh my God, let's fill in the blanks of what she said. Hey, have you ever thought about becoming a coach yourself? Because you can help these other people and you can make some extra income.
awesome, Calandra, how about you help them? And I was like, girl, do you know what I do? Do you know how long I went to school? Do you know how much? I mean, let's be real, you guys. I was a nurse. I had all the accolades. I had an honorable professional career that I thought was really good. And nurses, it is a good job. Don't get me wrong. It's a great career. It's very respectable.
It's an incredible career. It is a selfless career. Thank you to all the nurses out there. Thank you to all the medical people, all the service industry people. I feel like I just want to thank everybody. I'm nervous to press play on this because I feel like she's going to say, but, and yeah, I don't know.
I just had a stirring that there was more for me. I was putting Band-Aids on people and plugging holes that I really wasn't healing people the way.
So become a dietitian. Learn how food can help heal people. Learn how food impacts people's bodies. Selling them an extremely restrictive way of eating with prepackaged food that tastes terrible, allegedly, is not how you help people. That's how you help yourself. That's how you put money in your pocket. And it's gross.
That I felt like God was leading me to do.
Oh my, and spiritual manipulation. Oh gosh. I was not expecting that. I guess, I don't know. I guess I should have been expecting it, but.
So she asked me to explore coaching. And she said, well, could you do what I've done for you, for other people? And I was like, well, I mean, yeah. So same story as most of the people on here, just started to help a few people. Remember that my middle name is Skeptic because I laughed at her part. Okay. If you're too busy, because I was really busy, overwhelmed, tired, all the things, right? If you're too busy, one thing you're lacking is freedom in your time. Okay. So I want you to just listen because that's what I was lacking. That was the biggest thing. This community and the people that have sharpened me and made me better. That's the second thing. Am I speaking to anybody out there? Put a 1 in the chat if I'm speaking to any of you that are overwhelmed and tired and need some time. Because guess what? I didn't dictate my time with my family. I didn't dictate vacations. I didn't dictate where I could work. And I didn't dictate my salary for sure, right? The employer that I worked for and the CEO that I worked for, that, by the way, didn't know my name, didn't care about my dreams, and didn't know my kid's name, and certainly didn't pray for him if he was sick. That's the kind of community Optavia coaching provides.
I really feel like what she's doing is using a false equivalence fallacy. I feel like she's comparing two things that have nothing to do with one another. You are comparing a community, I'm using that term loosely because we know that MLM communities are based on transactional relationships in most cases. And so she's comparing the community of this MLM company and this team that she's a part of to working her job at a hospital with thousands and thousands and thousands of employees. And these two are not the same, but she's using that, she's weaponizing that, saying they didn't know my name, they didn't care if my kid was sick. You know, what about the community of nurses that she used to work with? I wonder if they've seen this video, because one thing I know about healthcare workers is that you are your own community. All the nursing staff, all the doctors, well, maybe not so much the doctors. Some doctors, I guess it just depends on where you work. You guys all take care of one another. That's a community within itself. So I wonder what the former coworkers of this individual feel if knowing that she's basically villainizing where she used to work. That's so interesting. We see this a lot too with MLM people that go to another company, they shame the other one, they talk about how they're aligned with it, or they were no longer aligned with it and they were aligned with this ground floor opportunity. We see all of the same kind of language, but I really do feel like what she is doing here is she's comparing two things that have nothing to do with one another. And by the way, I may have said this earlier or it may have been a previous video, you can find community without buying into an MLM. You can find it everywhere.
We have mentors that pray over us, that love us when we are in the dark, that love us where we're at and don't push. It's a beautiful thing, y'all. No one's calling me to see when I'm coming back to work. They're like, how can I help you? So we decided to just kind of dive in, and we did. Bottom line is here. I went from surviving as a really, really overwhelmed, tired, burnt out nurse, mama, wife, not fully present in my home, to owning my own thriving health coaching business that runs more revenue than the Starbucks on the corner of or a med spa. And I'm not.
That entire sentence was emotional manipulation. She is identifying her perfect, in my opinion, victim. A tired, stressed out, overwhelmed, not present mom or parent. That's who she's trying to target. That's why we see some of the stuff that they say. Or I worded that weird. That's why they say, let's do that again. That's why they say some of the things that they do on social media is because they're trying to identify their perfect victim, in my opinion. I know victim is a very strong word, but when you are using emotional, spiritual manipulation to try and bring somebody into this, whether it's the product or their opportunity, joining as a distributor, you are using those emotional manipulation those pain points paired with emotional manipulation to bring people in. And then you're confusing them with this community that love bombs them when you announce that hey, we got a new coach, and you announce it in your Facebook group and they're like, oh my God, welcome. And this person is just like super overwhelmed because all these people are welcoming them. But the second that those people decide to not be a coach anymore or to step away from MLM, they are blocked, removed, unfriended. So what happened to the community? Oh, it was based on transactional relationships. I really think that it's gross, especially what this gal right here is doing, because she is using pain points. She is using the fact that she was a nurse in her previous job and using the undue influence with that, if you will. I'm a nurse, so I was in the medical field, not me, but like, this is how I'm receiving what she's saying. I'm a nurse and I know what I'm talking about, and that's why you should trust me. I was overwhelmed. I was tired. I lost 45 pounds in 5 months. Do you see where I'm going with all of this? She's using that undue influence as a nurse to try to justify what she's participating in. Let's not forget the income disclosure statement. Let's not forget what we know about these health and wellness MLMs. And the second that you get off of these things, the second you start eating, especially with Optavia, you're going to gain all the weight back and then some. If you would just work with a professional, a dietitian, your medical team, all of those, whoever it is that you see for your health stuff, you're going to have better results slower over a long run, and you're going to be healthy in all areas of your life.
Not kidding. And I know that sounds crazy, and it is not about the money, y'all. But I'm telling you, sometimes God's going to call you to take that left fork in the road and stop.
Oh, and now we have spiritual manipulation on top of it. That's the cherry on top.
Stop going the same way and conforming to the same patterns that we are taught as a child, right? We're taught to go to school, get your degree, find your career, work till you're 65, and hopefully you'll be healthy enough to enjoy it. So I want to encourage you.
There are so many other ways to earn income that don't require an MLM. What she's doing here, in my opinion, is fear mongering. Listen, you're going to school, you're in debt, you have, student loans, you have all this, and for what? You're going to be paying those off for, years and years to come. There are other ways that you can make an income. This is fear mongering, what she's doing now. I feel like we are hitting all of the methods that MLMers use in one video.
What if? Why not you? Listen, there's nothing special about Doug and Tia. I mean, I think they're special. They're awesome. But there's nothing special about anyone you're going to hear speak on these Zooms. The only difference is that we said, what if? And
it's giving, if I can do it, you can do it. And that's not the case. Again, check out the income disclosure statement.
Went forward with that. So I want you to think about this. If you're on this program already and you're not coaching, You're being very selfish to not share this gift. Sorry, I was told I could be unplugged, and that's my heart. You're being really selfish. This is not your gift to not share with the world. And
You ought to be ashamed of yourself for that statement. You know, I remember in my previous company, there was somebody that used to pride herself on using tough love. You know, oh, I was given permission to be unplugged. That is code for I am going to say things that piss people off. And by the way, if you are somebody that prides yourself on tough love and you think you're helping people, no, that's just you being a jerk.
if you don't want to share it with the world, share it with your bestie and your mom and your dad and your aunt and your uncle, right? There are 3 to 5 people in your life that you know need health. Put a 1 in the chat if you have 3 to 5 people in your life that need health.
You guys, Julie Joe just hopped on. You have to come say hi, and I'm leaving this in.
I never hop on because we rarely film at the same time, but I was about to film too, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's on.
You have to watch this for a second, and you can leave some commentary, and then I'll hop on yours, and I'll leave some commentary, just like a fun little.
Let's go.
Okay, this is Optavia.
Oh, God.
It's so bad. Literally every form of spiritual and emotional manipulation has been on this call.
Well, you know how I feel about that.
I do. All right, I'm gonna play this. Check it out.
Okay.
These things I know. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Whether you say you can or you can't, it's absolutely true.
Is she speaking in Pinterest quotes?
I was about to say, she's not even talking at this point. She's just quoting something from a book. That's it. That's all she's got left.
By the way, she used to be a nurse, and she was shaming where she used to work. She was talking about how she didn't have community. And you're in the medical field. Tell me that you don't have a community in the place that you work.
It's like literally one of the best parts of it. The people that I work with. Not everyone has that, you know, awesome group, but like, I mean, there's so, at least where I am, like the hospital I'm at, there's so many people, like so many people everywhere. I don't know, like you kind of lean on each other. You know, it's hard to not have a community when you're doing something in the medical field because you have to lean on one another.
Yeah.
Now, not everyone has that, you know, is that lucky, but I mean, I would say that there's no way you can have a better community in MLM that's actually authentic.
That part. You heard it here first, friends.
Yeah.
If you feel stuck, that is on you because you're the only one that can write the next chapter in your life. Okay. So I want you to reach out to the person that invited you today and say, all right, tell me about it. You literally have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Let's talk about what they have to lose.
There's so much.
Some money. Okay, I'll say one and then you say one. Money.
Okay, you say money. Friendships.
Time.
Credibility.
Yourself.
Friendships. I already said that one. I just extra mean it.
I just extra mean it, especially after we found one another and we are friends and it's not transactional based, and I'm so grateful for that.
No joke. I'm gonna hop out and go film, but thanks for letting me.
Okay, I'll hop in on yours. It'll be fun.
Okay, bye.
Bye, friend. How cool is that? All right, let's keep going. We're almost done here.
Here are a few things that coaching has done for our family. One, we abundantly get to give abundantly. Like we support part of the foster system here in Lubbock, Texas. And that is near and dear to my heart because we could never get pregnant and we adopted a beautiful foster baby. And there's so many big kids that need help. So if we can get.
This makes me really uncomfortable. This makes me extremely uncomfortable. I agree with what she's saying when it comes to foster children. I agree with, yes, yeah, absolutely yes. But when you are pairing that with, I do not like this. When you are pairing this with a multi-level marketing company and giving credit to, the company, and I was able to do this because of this company, let's really break that statement down. And what we know about many of these MLM companies, and also from their income disclosure statement that we covered at the beginning of this video, is that the people at the top are the ones that are making money. And it's typically off of recruiting other people, whether it's in team bonuses, whether it's, getting paid for their group volume, those types of things. They are making the majority of their money off of recruiting other people. Okay. That being said, what she is saying is I was able to adopt her son because of the efforts of other people in her downline. But she's saying it in a different way. But that's essentially what she means, because she's making money, because she's probably got a team under her where she's making money. I don't know if she's still working in nursing or not, but that's essentially what she's saying. Hey, I have a team, I'm making money. She probably has some customers, but the majority of people in MLMs that are at the top, the money that they make is off of their teams. I don't like this, not one bit. Then you also add the fact that she is talking about women that have infertility challenges. So yet again, we have a specific demographic that is being identified by her. Like, listen, if I can do this, you can too. And here's what I was able to do because of my Optavia business. I think all of this is absolutely disgusting. I think this is probably one of the worst Zooms that I have ever reacted to. And I've reacted to a lot, as you guys know. We've seen every form of manipulation and MLM buzzword all wrapped into one. Oh,
Give and give abundantly to that. That is my heart. We give abundantly to another organization here that is actually, she coaches on our team, a trauma response and aid organization. I couldn't have done and given like we're giving before Optavia. We were doing good, but now we're doing great, right?
That's so gross. You can give in so many different ways. If financially you can't give, you can donate time. You can donate. There's so many different ways that you can give, that you can support different organizations.
We moved to Texas after dreaming about getting out of California. We moved to Texas. Couldn't have done that without Optavia. I put in a dream pool that I have wanted for 25 years, but John was like, you will not have a pool until you can pay cash for it. Thank you, Optavia.
You should be thanking your team. That's who you should be thanking, not Optavia.
And last but not least, I retired from nursing a 1.5 years ago. And I do not say that without humility in my heart. But I went from a position of reactive medicine and plugging holes and putting Band-Aids on my patients. I mean, let's be real. I was sitting at the bedside with patients telling them to get healthy and lose weight because their sleep apnea was going to kill them. And here I was obese. I mean, it's ridiculous. So thank you for having me. I say, what if and why not you? Ugh. It could completely change the trajectory of your life the way it did mine.
I agree, Calandra, and that was a perfect way to wrap up. And, T and I were just sitting here thinking, and there's a lot of questions that come into the chat, and I want to address one of them because it's actually the most precious question. And I saw it repeated. It just formed in a few different ways. And it basically said, Doug and Tia, how can I be a credible health coach when I still have well over 100 pounds to lose and I don't look like a healthy person to the outside world? It's just so beautiful, and I love that.
That's not beautiful, Doug. That's not beautiful at all, because healthy comes in all different sizes and shapes. And for you to judge somebody's health, which is what this sounds like, based on what their body looks like, is really disgusting.
That many of you said that, because that's actually the reason why you're more credible. Just like Lene said, she's more credible now as a coach because she didn't have the tools. You know what it's like to struggle. Listen to me, my friends. You know what it's like to struggle in your health, and you're starting to know what it's like to win, possibly for the first time in your life. And that gives you so much more street cred today than a bunch of titles on the wall or degrees in health. Because you have walked a mile in their shoes. You're still in your friends and family's shoes.
There are plenty of people with initials after their name, degrees, certifications that have also walked a mile in somebody's shoes that is overweight or is trying to better their health? What are you talking about?
And you get to come alongside them and say, look, I'm with you on this journey. I'm not pointing the finger saying, here's how. I'm saying I'm with you, and you're pulling people with you to it. And that's what it's about.
You're never too young. You're never too old. This is a moment in your life, a marker in your life to say, are you going to go after more? Or are you going to stay status quo? And this is an invitation today to say, I'm going to, what's been working I'm not breaking through. So I was willing to take the risk, and I invite you to take the risk of stepping out. This program is transforming your life, or someone around you. You are seeing them transform before your very eyes. Step into the process, and we're excited to help your family, your community, and your friends see that health is possible.
And I just saw that.
Well, I guess that's that. Yikes. This was a hard one for me to get through. I had a lot to say, and I can't wait to see your commentary when it comes to this video. Yikes. There's definitely going to be more to come. I'm definitely going to be covering this couple a lot more. I feel like they know exactly what they're doing. I would venture to say that they've probably been in previous multi-level marketing companies. So if you guys know anything about that, feel free to message me. Probably Instagram is the best way, unless you have like videos and stuff, then please upload that to a Google Drive and share it with my email, erin_bees@yahoo.com. This was so gross. Please do not join Optavia, whether it's as a customer or as a coach. Please don't do it. Don't join an MLM. Yikes. My head hurts after that. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, or just my commentary, or just the conversations that we have from these videos, please feel free to give me a thumbs up, subscribe. Thank you. That helps to, and just your interaction, you know, dropping comments and stuff like that. It helps to get the message out to more people, to hopefully prevent them from joining companies like this. So thank you guys for all of your commentary. Thank you for all of the likes. Thank you for subscribing. And if you want, turn the bell notification on, and you'll get notified when I drop a new video. Okay, that's all I have. I'm gonna go eat dinner, a complete plate, actually. And I will show you in my Instagram stories. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye, everybody.